We're now joined live to discuss more by Professor Meir Litvak, the director of the Alliance Center for Iranian Studies at Tel Aviv University. Good evening to you. We just heard the report from our reporter in the field about the Home Front Command easing some of the restrictions. What does that tell us about how much the Israeli Air Force has been able to take out key targets, including missile launchers?
Well, we do see a decline in the Iranian capability of launching large barrages of missiles. Also, when you send a large barrage of missiles, it is much more difficult also for the Israelis to intercept these missiles. Clearly, the fact that they are able to launch fewer missiles every day indicates problems, indicates that they have a problem shortage of launchers, not necessarily of missiles, but of launchers, that maybe they feel insecure of bringing these launchers to the outside to their shelters, so they should not be hit by the Israeli Air Force. Certainly, it shows that Iran is suffering constraints. Does not necessarily mean that Iran is on the verge of collapse, but certainly its capabilities are
limited,
less important than what it had, diminished than before.
And let's talk about what we know about today's operations. I mean, it's been clear not only on Israel's side, but President Trump saying that the Israeli Air Force has control over the skies over Tehran. Of course, we're not able to see what that looks like from the ground, but how much do we know what infrastructure and nuclear positions the Air Force has been able to take out as well today?
Well, the Israeli Air Force has been able to hit the nuclear installations in Natanz and Isfahan. It caused damage. I don't know if it's complete destruction of these places. It certainly was able to destroy apparently thousands of centrifuges. The problem remains that the Israeli Air Force is incapable of destroying the nuclear facility at Fordo, which is buried about 100 meters underground inside the rock. We don't have the bombs to destroy such bunkers, only the Americans have. Which means that unless we are able to destroy this nuclear facility, the Iranian nuclear project can resume or even resurrected when this war ends, unless it ends with an agreement that will ban Iran or prevent Iran from pursuing nuclear activities or ambitions.
You know, we also know that, President Trump not ready to enter the military operation, but is starting to move different, artillery and resources, including these types of bombs that you just talked about. Do you think that is something that could be a deterrent, if at all, even though the Supreme Leader is saying, don't mess with us because we have something up our sleeve for America as well?
It certainly serves, I would say, as a warning sign to the Iranians. I think that Trump may have made a mistake by wording his demands from the Iranians as total surrender. This is something that it will be extremely difficult for the present Iranian regime to accept, because they will feel that if they capitulate to such American demands, then their status or their stature in Iran would be at risk. And then they are like, this is why they rejected it. Perhaps a more sophisticated formula, which would have required Iran to give up its ambitions for nuclear weapons, would have been more efficient, because Iran is in a dire strait, not only militarily, but also economically. It has been in a dire strait before the war. Iran was interested in agreement, under its own conditions, of course, because it is in a dire economic, social state. And perhaps the Americans can then still, by using, I would say, skillful diplomacy plus threats, to eventually bring the Iranians to make the necessary concessions to, I would say, stop the Iranian nuclear advance toward the bomb.
But even with that said, we've seen already. I mean, even if they say, okay, we're not going to shoot more missiles, we'll agree to negotiate. They can't be trusted. So how is that even a possible solution? Even if it does get to diplomacy, I don't think I can't imagine Israel will just trust them at their word.
Well, you don't trust the Iranians. What you have to do is you need measures of supervision. that will prevent the Iranians from pursuing nuclear capabilities. Now, we cannot prevent the Iranians from, building missiles or from ever in the future prevent them from launching them. What we can, and nor can we, by the way, destroy their entire nuclear project. And by the way, even if we destroy other facilities, the know-how will remain. We haven't been able to destroy the uranium, the stockpiles, which have huge stockpiles. So what the best way it would be to get an agreement that could be enforced by strict supervision, continuous supervision of the IAEA and other bodies, then that would prevent the Iranians from pursuing, moving toward a bomb. Now, it's not a question of trust. It's a question of what measures you take to ensure that the Iranians will not be able to violate any agreement in the future.
All right. Thank you very much. As always, Professor Meir Litvak, the director of the Alliance Center for Iranian Studies at Tel Aviv University.
Thank you.